Look, folks, I just want you to know one thing. I'm the most flawed man in this room, okay? But I'm going to do my level best. You know what my mother told me? Johnny, you make the world a better place. And I want you all to understand, yeah, I'm a Republican. Yes, I'm a conservative. But before I'm any of that, I'm an American. And that's how I am.
This is kind of a technical question, but after you went...
Let me see that. We got tax law here or something. You know what? We all have to take a foreign language to get out of high school and go to college. I tell you what I think we ought to take. You want to take a foreign language? Take the language of the computer. That will end up providing you more help and more benefit. Learning Spanish, you can learn that later. To get that computer knowledge, girls, that's what we need in America. That's a flexible education system.
I have a kind of a technical question for you, Governor. After you win on Tuesday, say about Wednesday morning, if you ask Marco Rubio to be your vice president, will he bring his delegates to you?
Oh. Well, where are you coming up with this stuff? Are you reading novels?
I just think he would be a great vice president.
No, he's from Ohio. She can't be vice president. I was considering him until I realized that he lives here. Okay? But look, I think that's like measuring the drapes. What I do know is when we win Ohio with your help on Tuesday, it's going to change everything. We're beginning to, kind of like rise everywhere. So now in Illinois, we're doing better. We're heading here. We're going to head to Pennsylvania. We're going to head to the East Coast, to the East Seaboard, and we're going to go west. And if any of you want to go, just talk to the gentleman from Brooklyn, and he'll tell you how you can do it. So thank you. We have to win Tuesday, and we will win Tuesday. Things look good, but we're not going to take.
Governor, as a veteran, tell me why we should have you as a commander-in-chief.
Well, look, I mean, I do believe, first of all, on national security, they took a poll. Here's the way polls work, though. If they're good, we talk about it. If they're bad, we don't. Okay? So keeping that in mind, there were 700 foreign policy experts. Who are these people? People that have studied, foreign affairs and global interactions. And they took a survey about a month ago, and that 55% of them said the best person to run the country and to negotiate what we do globally is Kasich. Second was Jeb Bush, who came in at 30, and nobody else scored in the double digits. So I served for 18 years on the Armed Services Committee, and I worked with some of the smartest people. I was involved in so many reforms, and the most important one, I think, was the idea that the services needed to work together, train together, and learn to fight together. Because we studied so many things that were happening around the world, and we realized they were disjointed. And for those folks who are a little older here today, you remember when Jimmy Carter tried to stage a rescue mission and the helicopters crashed into each other in the desert. We also know there's been a story, I don't know if it's ever really been confirmed, but it doesn't surprise me, that when our Marines were in Lebanon, in Beirut, they could look out and see the Navy ship out there in the Med, but they couldn't call them on their communication system. They had to use a phone booth to call the ship. So we changed all that and forced the services to work together. One of the other challenges we have is we have you're not going to believe what I'm going to tell you, 800,000 people in the Pentagon performing bureaucratic functions. 800,000. Now, what do you think you do when you have 800? What do you think gets done with 800,000? In an era of Uber, 800,000 people, they can't figure this stuff out. That's why we have cost overruns, delays. So, and then I don't know, I should tell you that after 9/11, I got a call from Secretary Rumsfeld, and I went to the Pentagon for a meeting with all the former Secretaries of Defense. And in this meeting, by the way, there was Henry Kissinger and Brzezinski. You might know his daughter. Her name is Mika. She's on Morning Joe, and I really like her very much. And her father was in this meeting, and he started yelling at Rumsfeld, "Tell the president to no longer say we want bin Laden dead or alive. Dead or alive is incendiary. Dead or alive is not the right approach." And Kissinger was sitting across from him, and in his own voice he said, "I agree, we don't want bin Laden alive." Those experiences working with some of the finest minds really has prepared me. In regard to the veterans, Jack, I tell you what we're going to need is not only to restructure the whole organization so that it is responsive to our veterans, and with vouchers for health care so they can go wherever they want to, and connecting veterans to jobs when they come home so they can get work. But we're going to need somebody. I was talking, a lot of the young people here won't remember him. I'll tell you who would be a great, he's not going to do this, but a great head of the VA is if we put Bill Gates in charge. Okay, all of a sudden people would say, yeah, he can do that. It used to be for those who were older, it was Lee Iacocca. He was above, he stood way up here. Frankly, we're going to need somebody like that to run the VA, and we need somebody like that to run the IRS, because that system isn't working either. Services, the government itself. You see this thing, right? We all, I have a flip phone. Yeah, I do. I have an iPad. I have a flip phone. You think I want emails all day long? Forget it, okay? But when we were in Florida, these kids are 16 now, they were 10 or 11, and we were there and they were looking and they said, "Daddy, what is that box over there?" And I'm kind of looking, what? Oh, that's where Superman changes his clothes. And Mom and Dad and I, your mom and I used to have to put coins in there to call people. And they were like, no way, no way. Steve, everything has changed. Medicine, communication, transportation. It's just at speed, changing at the speed of light. And if a company does not change at the speed of business, it dies. When government doesn't change at the speed of business, we just bring up $19 trillion in debt. Look at this. You believe this? This is America. $19 trillion. And it's because we have not had the courage or the creativity or the innovation to change government at every level. I was down in Georgia where they have outsourced every single operation of the government. They have like 6 employees in one of the fastest growing cities in Georgia. We have to constantly think about how we're going to deliver better services at lower prices. I'll give you one example where we figured out innovation. Oh, you all remember Kasich, he's messing with our turnpike. We don't like that man. I mean, he's, look, I've got a spouse and I'm married to that road, and if he messes this up, well, we figured out a way to issue some debt in New York, $1 billion, which is paid back from the tolls to the turnpike. For those that use it all the time, we've basically kept you harmless. We held you harmless. For those that come in from Pennsylvania, they pay more. And guess what? We put $1 billion into the infrastructure of this state, the greatest investment people are working as a result of all. You see all those barrels? You get so frustrated? People are working. And so thinking differently allowed us to do something. We have to always think differently. And by the way, I get more smartphones this morning. But I want to just tell you one other thing. As part of this is an education process, and that is when those numbers go up, business people say, I don't trust investing. They just say, I don't know what's going to happen. See, in Ohio, one of our greatest assets in Ohio has been the fact that we're running a $2 billion surplus. That's why we're getting all these jobs. Because we're running jobs. I'm going to go to a woman next. I haven't seen any.
Hi, this question is a foreign relationship.
Yes, sir.
China, the relationship we have with China, and we're tied together economically, and worried about them militarily. What would you do to kind of keep that balance as the nuts of China, Japan, and China?
Okay, let me take you around the world. I have to take one more with this lady over here, and then I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going there fast after this. I'm going to take you around the world. On the front page today of the New York Times, I don't even know if I really want to talk about this. ISIS has taken 16-year-old girls and they make them sex slaves. I mean, we see the beheadings, we see these things that are going on. And frankly, folks, we can't let this go any longer. I'm going to tell you, it's like a bad disease. We need to do what we did. We pushed Saddam Hussein out of Kuwait. I remember when it happened, and I remember when the Egyptian ambassador to the United States stood in the Rose Garden and said the whole world would be united, honoring the law of humanity. And we won. We had shock and awe. That was serious. But ISIS threatens our very way of life. I just read the front page today because I was exercising and couldn't turn the page, and I got the paper saved. And this girl, she said every day, it's horrific. These barbarians. So we've got to get these Muslim Arabs, and by the way, all Muslims aren't out to do a sin. That's another one of these outrageous statements. We need to get the Egyptians, the Jordanians, the Saudis, the Gulf states, all of whom know they're being threatened ultimately, in line with our friends in Europe and with our friends around the globe. We have to go in the air and on the ground, and we must destroy ISIS. Settle it down and then come home and let the folks over there take care of it. Okay, let them take care of it. Now, I want to talk about Israel for a second. Starting to come up, and I want to talk a little bit about it. Could you imagine living in Strongsville that every day you got potential of rockets coming in and blowing up your house? And now people are digging tunnels. Hamas is digging tunnels under Israel. So you're living in Israel, right? They're coming at you from above and they're coming at you from under the ground. And all they want to be is democratic and free. That's all they want. And they need our support. Now let's also move over to Russia. I don't know how many